Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. How you doing? Well, we're back here. We're home. Feels good to be in your own bed once again after a long trip. I put these videos out that you've recently seen on our journey to Michigan, the Upper Peninsula and such, and I have a whole bunch of other content left over, but I am so busy. I am buried in videos, I am buried in reviews, I am buried in knives. I really had to sit back and think, what can I do to wrap up this Michigan trip and do it a little bit easier. You know, I can understand that it's not as exciting to watch these kind of videos sometimes to some people as it is the reviews or knives and stuff like that, but I wanted to put it out and I wanted to close the trip. So I guess I'm gonna have to just do a little voiceover. I'm gonna roll a bunch of pictures and videos in here and stuff like that, so be patient with me, please. And thank you for all the support. We couldn't have asked for any better weather, both on our way to Michigan and on our way back. It was just amazing. The sights through Montana and North Dakota and Wyoming and Minnesota and Idaho and Michigan itself, it was something else. One highlight of the trip was actually getting to meet up with Alex Steele and Will Stetler. And they're, of course, with Alex Steele YouTube channel. It was awesome to meet up with these two young guys. Great YouTube creators, great blacksmiths and artists. It was amazing, very hospitable, very cordial and down to earth. It was amazing to sit there and meet with them. My son had a blast because he had just turned 15, so this was kind of a 15th birthday present for him. And Will even gifted him a little something, a little piece of Damascus that I'd made in the past. Now Dutch, of course, he just loved the trip. This was a maiden voyage with him after having my Nissan Titan doing all the work that we did with it. We had that box built in the back and I took some memory foam and I put it on there for him. We blacked out part of the windows so he had a little bit of shade from the sun, and it was amazing. He did really good actually. He actually got used to it after a couple of days. At first he didn't want to jump in, and afterwards he was just ecstatic. And of course, getting out of the truck, going to run around a little bit was amazing. Like I said, I had to say it was fun. Good driving. I'm very pleased with my Nissan Titan. Now, when we got to my dad, of course, it was Ottawa National Forest. That's pretty much the main forest, and he lives on a lake. And Lake Ogibic here is just beautiful. I mean, I have... Now the kids, of course, they loved the trip. They wanted to get on Papa's four-wheeler and go riding, and this year my daughter was big enough that she could get behind the steering wheel and do the same thing, the handlebars, and ride for a while, and we had fun. As you guys saw, we did go to the falls. We saw a lot of falls. Actually, we've seen a lot more falls than what we shared with you on video. It was amazing. I had never gone to any of these falls up until now, and it was really nice. Again, it's great to have the kids older and being able to go out and enjoy the things that we're doing. One of the big things about this trip was going up to see my grandma. My grandma is turning 98 in October. My dad is 70 in October, and of course the kids are in school, so we weren't going to be able to break away from school, so we wanted to spend some time with them. Again, the sunsets in Michigan are just amazing too. Yeah, I can never get enough of them. It was very peaceful. Even as calm as it was, the bugs weren't that bad on the lake. They could get bad at times, but it was just beautiful. And as you guys see here, just amazing, just amazing. Now, of course, I had to stop at the Hurley-Iron County Historical Museum. Go visit the gals again. Some of them remember me from a few years ago. My wife, this was her first time there, so she got to see where they made the table placements and stuff and the rugs. And she was laughing because she was talking to the gals because she grew up, her mom had one of these looms in their house, and people back in Poland, that's what they used to do. They used to make the rugs and do things exactly the same way that these gals here are doing at the museum. Adventure Mining Company. This was such a nice place to visit again. We'd been there a few years ago and it was fun, but the kids again were a lot younger. This time we actually went rappelling inside the cave, Not just the regular tour, but we did some rappelling too. I think the shaft was about 80 feet. Then after we did that, I got to meet with the owner and do a nice interview with him, which you guys have seen in a separate video. Porcupine Mountains. Oh boy, I'd spent so much time up there. Porcupine Mountains is right near Lake Superior in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I remember going up there before all this rock and these walls and the fences and the wood paths were put up. It was something else. I remember walking down there and going fishing down in the Lake of the Clouds, 30 years ago. But it was a beautiful place to visit once again. The kids definitely enjoyed it. Again, it was another beautiful day. We got to do some hiking. We weren't prepared for a big day of hiking, but at least we got some in. But again, so if you're up there, that is definitely a place to visit. So after the Porcupine Mountains, the next day we headed over to Bell Forest. That is right. I put a video out that stood alone. You'll have to check it on my playlist here or in my vlogs, but Josh and the gang over at Bell Forest Products, they were gracious hosts. The place is amazing. Oh my gosh, the beautiful wood, not just wood found here in North America, but all around the world, was just something else. And the fact that they have so many different sizes and shapes is just amazing. The shop, I couldn't believe how clean the shop was. Now, they didn't do a lot of cleaning before we got there. This is pretty much how you see this building every day while they're working. Amazing, amazing. The kids, my son really loved it. My daughter and my wife were kind of about it, which of course I guess is understood. But my son and my dad and I, we just enjoyed this place so much. And of course it gave my daughter a little time behind the camera to practice. And then one day we stopped over, of course, Sunday Lake and Carl Wanek and the Sunday Lake Underground Rock Shop. Once again, Carl was a gracious host, great with the kids, and it was a pleasure to spend some time talking with him and collecting a few things. Then one day we hit Copper Peak. This was an amazing place. I had never been there before. It is the tallest ski jump in the United States of America. And just beautiful weather. Again, blessed. Then there was a day, well, my son and I had to give Papa a hand. My dad recently bought a newer Gator, and his old Gator, well, he took the rack off of it, and it wouldn't fit his new Gator. So my son and I took some time, and we cut it up a little bit, and I taught my son how to weld, and we fabricated some new brackets and welded it on my dad's new Gator. This was great because I got to teach my son to weld a little bit more, as well as a little father and son time. And I think Papa was very pleased with the overall end product. We gave it a good coat of a good textured spray, like a bed liner spray, and then we got it back on there again. And I don't think my son was the only one that was anxious to take this for a spin, because after we got done taking pictures and cleaning everything up, my daughter was in the passenger seat ready to take off for a ride through the woods. But sadly, all things come to an end, and we actually had to head back home. On our way back, we made a few stops that we didn't get a chance to see on the way to my dad. And one of those was Roosevelt, the Theodore Roosevelt Park there. Really nice place. You could do a little hike in there. It's not very big, but it's really, really pretty when you're there. And pictures just don't do it justice. But again, I got to go back to the weather. It was amazing. It was something else. And the weather still held out for our trip into Yellowstone National Park. That's right, this was our first time into Yellowstone. I've been through it through the north end when you go through Wyoming or through Montana, but never once did we actually stop in to go see it. So we did it. It was great. Not only getting to go see Yellowstone and hang out at Yellowstone Lake, but also going to see the Yellowstone Lake was amazing. Again, we picked such a beautiful day to go see it and to drive through Yellowstone. Now, what I was surprised about is all the construction. Now, of course, it was a Sunday when we were driving through, and they had everything, everybody was off work and such, but they're putting in huge like roadways now and little bridges and such, and it was just amazing. I was completely enamored by how much work was taking place in there. But what's a visit to Yellowstone without getting over to Old Faithful? That's right. This was my first time actually seeing Old Faithful. Now, we got there early. Well, we got there late, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. It had just erupted. So we had about an hour and a half to spare, which was not a big deal. We walked around a little bit, and we sat in and listened to a little movie that they had going on. Got some lunch, and then we walked over so we could get a spot for the show. I think we were there about a half hour, 40 minutes, and then boom, Old Faithful erupted within a couple of minutes of when they predicted. So it's really neat how they can do that. Again, video and pictures just don't do it justice. You have to be there. You had to be there to see it and experience it firsthand. So I would definitely highly recommend to get to Yellowstone or to other national parks in the United States. There's so much America has to offer that I think you would spend a lifetime chasing everything down. Again, being a Sunday, we actually lucked out. We got there first thing in the morning, and it lent us plenty of time to make some small stops again, catching waterfalls. I love waterfalls, so as soon as I saw this one, I had to stop. We got out. The water was so cold and so refreshing, and I just wanted to sit there for a few minutes just to soak it in, knowing at some point we were just going to be back on the road again. And, you know, if I got to practice my camera skills, and I have a lot to learn. I will know that for sure. Leaving Yellowstone after about a 4 or 5 hour journey, we ended up into the Grand Teton National Park. Now, this was a short, quick drive through the Grand Tetons. We did make some stops. We saw the mountains. It was amazing, so beautiful, and again, blessed with such great weather on this trip. We were very, very thankful. I would really like to go back to the Grand Tetons. I'd love to spend 2 or 3 days in Yellowstone too, and just soak in everything. But again, Wyoming and Montana had so much to offer. When we got out of Grand Tetons and Yellowstone, we actually ended up staying at Idaho Falls. From Idaho Falls, we drove all the way up to Missoula. And Idaho Falls and the route going up to Missoula was amazing because we drove through the Bitterroot Sawtooth mountain range. And along that entire route, which was Old 94, I believe is what they called it, we followed the Snake River. And that was so beautiful. On our way back, I also got to connect with Ivan with Kit Badger. Him and I are working on a collaboration. I recently made him a knife, and he's had the last few months to play with it and get it out in the field. And he was really enjoying it. So we were going over some other knives that I had and trying to come up with some ideas for more collaboration and more content. So hopefully everybody, you enjoyed the videos. Hopefully you've been enjoying the videos as to date. We're wrapping up the summer. We're coming to an end pretty close here at 2019. That is amazing. And everything has been so hectic for me. 2018 buzzed by, but I got so busy and I had so many growing pains. 2019, I've had the same kind of growing pains, but I guess they've been a little bit easier because I'm used to the pace. But this year I had to take time to decide to set it with family to go do these important trips and such. What's also amazing is, as of this video goes out, I have still been doing 3 videos a week all year. That's 3 videos a week all year so far. Whew. That is nuts. 2020, I'll probably be slowing down a little bit, but I'm not sure how much because I have a whole bunch of stuff here in 2019 that's happening. And some of those are going to be responsibilities that I'm going to have to tend to in 2020. And it's not just knife stuff. It's becoming a brand ambassador. It's becoming getting sponsors from other companies and such, working with other YouTubers and collaborating in knife making, and maybe getting together with those guys or having them come out to the shop and put their hands on their knives and do a little work on those. So I got so many ideas and so much going on, but it's not possible without you all. So I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm coming close to 10,000 subs. I think I'm going to break it here in 2019. So you might want to keep an eye out for that because I'm getting together a whole bunch of cool stuff I'm going to share with you guys later on this year. So again, thank you. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Remember, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It does help. It does. It's like an award for people in YouTube. If you subscribe to a channel, that's telling that channel you appreciate what they're doing and would like to see more of that content. Or hey, I like at least 10 of your videos and I think you're a pretty decent fella or a pretty cool gal, and I'm gonna go ahead and subscribe to you. It's like a reward. And just that thumbs up or even a comment down below, it does help. Thank you very much. Until the next video, gang, you have a good one, and we'll see you then. Bye.